Good evening, beautiful beings. Thank you for being here. And today I am going to read to you a beautiful bedtime story for you, adult children. And it is for you, especially for you, if you feel stressed, if you feel there is too much to do, maybe there is some deadlines. This is a very revolutionary story that will change your perception, and perhaps it will take all that stressful situations and transform them into something unexpectedly desirable. So this is the powerful story, and it comes from my new book, which is called The End of Your Story, and you can find it on Amazon. I will leave you the link if you are more interested in how to end your story, because this book is not about trying to change or improve your story as people trying to do all the time. This is simply how to end it, and when it ends, really you can't imagine anything sweeter. End the story without any practices, without any tools, without any self-improvement techniques. So this is in a nutshell. But now I want you to really immerse into this story. So find a really comfortable position where you won't be disturbed, where you can really focus. Because even though I will be talking about some civilizations far, far away, there might be something there for you, my friend. And the story, it is called The Quantum Hourglass. So I hope that you are cozy enough. Once upon a time, in the furthest reaches of the cosmos, beyond the plane of visible stars and galaxies, there existed an extraordinary civilization of beings known as the Eternals. Unfettered by the constraints of time, they lived in a timeless reality where nothing had a beginning or an end, and every moment existed congruently in an ever-present now. The idea of deadlines, urgency, and stress, or running out of time was an alien concept for them, as much as they were aliens to us. Life for the Eternal was serene and undisturbed, but over the course of eternity, a subtle malaise grew among them. Their reality of constant serenity and no meaning felt increasingly monotonous. They began to yearn for something they couldn't quite comprehend, something different, something thrilling. And among these timeless entities, there was one named Zephyr, the most creative and visionary of all of them. Zephyr spent much of his existence pondering the conundrum of his people, searching for that missing element. He examined countless realities across the multiverse, looking for inspiration. And then, one day, Zephyr stumbled upon an observation from a small blue-green planet tucked away in an ordinary galaxy. The planet known to its inhabitants as Earth had beings who lived by the ticking of an invisible clock. They lived not in timeless serenity, but in a world dominated by deadlines, schedules, and countdowns. Although initially it seemed chaotic, Zephyr began to see the beauty in it. He saw how the limitations of time inspired urgency and drive and a unique thrill in the beings of Earth, something the Eternals had never experienced. Inspired, Zephyr designed a game, a grand simulation, which he called the Quantum Hourglass. And in the game, the Eternals could experience the progression of time, deadlines, and the exhilaration of the countdown. He incorporated elements of both urgency and tranquility, of actions and their consequences, all governed by an inexorable ticking clock. It was more than just a video game or virtual reality. It was an immersive, mind-melding reality simulator, bridging the unimaginable gap between timelessness and temporality. And the game system utilized advanced cosmic technology called belief to embed the experience of time directly into the consciousness of the Eternals. The Quantum Hourglass was unlike anything the Eternals have ever experienced. Suddenly, actions had urgency, decisions had weight, and every moment was fleeting, never to return. The feeling of racing against time was electrifying. News of the game spread through rapidly, and soon every Eternal wanted a taste of this novel thrill. The experience of fleeting time, adrenaline-fueled last-minute saves, and heartaches of lost loves became a commodity more valuable than anything else in their timeless existence. The monotonous serenity of their existence was broken, replaced by the vibrant pulse of temporal life with vibrant emotions. The game didn't just become a pastime, but a revolution that transformed the very fabric of the Eternals' society. For eons, the Eternals knew nothing of stress, rush, or the fear of missing out, as known as FOMO. But once they got a taste of time-bound existence through Zephyr's game, they developed an insatiable appetite for it. It was like they'd been dining on cosmic soup of eternity, and suddenly someone introduced them to the spiciness of chili peppers, the complexity of a curry, or the crunchiness of potato chips. And they just could not get enough. You could see Eternals running around like headless chickens, trying to squeeze an infinity of activities into their virtual 24-hour day. Others got hooked on the sweet torture of multitasking, juggling tasks like a circus performer with flaming torches and chainsaws. They reveled in the feelings of being constantly one step behind or perpetually playing catch-up with the ticking clock. But the FOMO, oh the FOMO, that was the most delectable part of the game for the Eternals. The fear of missing the next big thing was like a zesty salsa to their previously bland existence. They started queuing up, trying to buy as many minutes as they could afford, treating them like limited edition action figures that were selling out fast. Virtual dating became the new rave, and everyone dreaded missing them. It was like a surprise birthday party happening every day, and the last thing you wanted was the only one not being invited. It was amusing to the Eternals being to the eternal beings who had the cosmos at their fingertips, getting flustered about missing a call or text message, having to choose and commit as they were losing the opportunity to date everyone at the same time. And then there was the thrill of growing old. The Eternals had never experienced the passage of time on their forms, and suddenly they were thrilled to see wrinkles, sunspots, and gray hair. Aging became the new chic. The more lines you had under your eyes, the more esteemed you were. It was like each wrinkle had a badge of honor, a testament to their bravery in the face of the ticking clock. Indeed, Zephyr's game had turned the lives of the Eternal upside down. Or maybe it was the right side up for the first time. The feeling of stress, the rush, the FOMO, and the thrill of aging, these gave the Eternals something they never had before. In their pursuit of stress and urgency, the Eternals found an inexplicable and a joy that you cannot explain that was missing from their infinite, unchanging lives. And they found the thrill in chasing, the joy in having to choose, the dignity of aging, and ultimately, meaning. Suddenly, their temporal relationships had meaning. Their skills became valuable. They got a taste of mortality, and they gained a newfound respect for the beauty of a finite existence. And while they were basking in the new time-bound experiences, the Eternals couldn't understand how the Earthlings treated the most precious commodity of time as if it were a never-ending supply of unwanted junk email. On Earth, every tick of the clock comes with its own symphony of stress, a tune they've danced to for so long that they've forgotten the music. Each moment is a precious gem, but instead of marveling at its beauty, they often see it as a stone to be hurriedly tossed aside in their rush towards the next better moment. Stress to them has become a specter hunting their existence rather than an exhilarating reminder of their vitality. Meanwhile, for the Eternals, as the demand for the game skyrocketed, so did the cost of playing. The Eternals, who had never felt the thrill of spending, suddenly found themselves in a frenzy of economic exchange. 1 minute of experiencing the intense rush, the sweat, the sweet stress of time passing was worth its weight in the rarest cosmic gems. To put it in earthly terms, imagine the world's rarest diamond, the Hope Diamond. It's worth about $350 million. Now multiply that by a factor that exceeds the number of atoms in the entire universe, and you're getting close to what an Eternal would pay for a single minute of frenzied, time-bound stress. The experience was as addictively precious to them as the rarest treasures are to us. Every Eternal was willing to part with their most prized possessions treasures from across the multiverse, just for the chance to feel a deadline looming, to indulge in the profound melancholic ecstasy of falling in love, knowing that they have to part one day, to taste the stress of ticking clock, or to experience depression from missing out. It was, to their timeless minds, the most exquisite form of luxury, an experience beyond the rarity and beauty of cosmic jewels and universal artifacts. It was an experience, something they didn't know before. And this is the end of this short story that perhaps there is part of you that maybe has been resisting this idea your whole life, and now perhaps can become a little more open, a little more spacious to the idea or the truth that your life, exactly as it is, with all the deadlines, with all the FOMO, is perfect. And for a lot of people, the stress, that's never the problem. Just like when you're watching a movie or reading a story, you feel emotions and you feel tension and you feel stress, or you feel fear or excitement, any emotion. But somehow, if it's not personal and if it doesn't mean anything about you personally, you even enjoy this feeling, this adrenaline. Something's happening, it's an experience. And so most people put this extra layer when we feel stressed. It's the layer which says it should not be happening this way. It should not be happening this way. It shouldn't be this fast. I should be doing more. I should be already having certain things in my life. And because of this extra layer, we are somehow missing the game. And so this is just my invitation to come back to the game, because there is no way out. There is only way of recognizing that what is really stressing us out is never outside of ourselves. Just allowing yourself to simply be, dropping a little bit deeper with yourself, and if you are ready to end your story, and if you like reading, you can read more in my book about how to really end the story of you, which we are so firmly identified with that we can't even imagine what the ending would look like. We only imagine what would it look like if we change it and improve it, improve ourselves and our circumstances and people around us. And this is a totally different game, a game of thrill instead of a thriller, a game of being instead of controlling, where nothing is ever wrong and nothing is ever right. It just is. And what is very unexpected. We just don't notice because we have so many ideas about how it should be. So I hope that you enjoyed this story, and perhaps it brings you a new perspective when tomorrow you go on with your day, just noticing how thrilling it can be, how exciting it can be to be exactly where you are when we take away the shoulds and shouldn'ts. And perhaps from that space, you'll be able to notice those little unexpected pockets of gifts that are being presented to you in the present, which we often miss because we're running away towards some better moment in the future. Have a beautiful night.